Yeah. Out in the yard where the grass grows wild, CiottiFPV's goggles locked, grinning like a child. Teddy spaghetti's fur flies and jet wash dreams, yeah. Chasing small whoops like a dog possessed fiend. Eyes on a neon blur, hard in the chase. Big fuzz and prop spin all tangled in place, yeah. Four-legged rebel with a rotor stir tail in the circus of the sky. They never fail. CiottiFPV, Teddy Spaghetti, dynamic duo kings, barking at the breeze, throttling at top speed. They zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Shotty's on sticks, Teddy's on paws. Side by side, legends breaking all the laws. Through the kitchen, over couch scale terrain. Backyard mayhem in their flight domain. No ground too sacred, no loop too tight. Fuzz, fuel, fury ignites the night. When pilot and pup lock eyes on the prize, every whoop they conquer is a fresh cut surprise. Yeah, yo, Shotty behind the sticks, Teddy's leading the pack. Prop guard missiles unleashed, never looking back. No leash, no map, just freestyle mic. They on the dog drone streets every day and night. Said whoops, hitting low, gotta nail the dive. Teddy push throttle up, feel the beast come alive. I see the neon arc, got the sticks locked in, Teddy. Yeah, let's rip this loop, ride the roar of the wind, Teddy. Yep, yeah. CiottiFPV, yeah. Teddy Spaghetti, yeah. Diamond and duo kings, barking at the breeze, throttling at top speed. Zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. Teddy Spaghetti, Teddy and duo kings, barking at the breeze, throttling at top speed things, zooming through hoops, flipping in style. That schnauzer's got throttle and a toothy smile. Yeah, when you hear that bar cut the rotor hum, you know Ciotty and Teddy's mission's just begun. FPV's fur-faced legends, legends singing loud. Yeah, Teddy Spaghetti and CiottiFPV always proud. Yeah.
Good evening, my friends. That song, I don't know, man. That song has got such a chill vibe. I feel like, you know, good evening is the proper thing to say after it ends. What's up, people? My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to Monday night Q and Gay. See what I did there? Q and Gay, because we're doing an Atlanta Pride recap. For the last 3 years, I have flown Atlanta Pride. First year I did it strictly as a volunteer. I said, hey, I want to volunteer to help. Here's what I can do for you that probably has some value. And they were like, holy Christ, yes, please. Last year, they didn't have budget, but what I did is I said, hey, I'm going to come and fly it again. And if you fall in love with any of the footage, you can buy it from me as stock footage with stock footage rates. They didn't. That's okay. This year, they had budget. So first and foremost, this year they made budget for it. And so really good lesson there in like, if you really want, if there's a gig that you really want, usually I don't recommend this, to be super honest, but like if there's something that you really want and it's a recurring thing, do it for free. It's going to be fun, right? You like flying, it's your hobby. If you can do it safely, right? If you're experienced enough, this, for example, this is very difficult. There is all kinds of shit going on. And so I would not want somebody that's not like really good to fly a gig like this, because you'd end up hitting somebody and then it's bad for all of us. What you were just watching was a 1.6 inch, I'm sorry, a 2 inch 2S tinywhoop with an 04 light. And footage, I flew 6 or 7 batteries with this Saturday night and Sunday. Saturday night is the big concert, Sunday is the parade. I flew all 4 batteries with this at the parade, and I flew 2 batteries with this at the concert. And in their edit that they put up earlier today, they used some of the footage from this, which is absolutely insane to me. Here comes a link in the chat to the... Where the hell is the chat? Did I not pop the chat out? Look at me. Hold on. Pop out chat. Pull it over here. And live chat. And make it bigger. All right. There's a link to the reel that Atlanta Pride put up. I can't believe they got it up so quickly. I only got them the footage like last night at, I don't know, 10 or 11. They must have literally had somebody up all night ripping through all the footage to get that shit done, which is super cool. I don't know if they're gonna, I hope they do another edit. I gave them some awesome stuff this year. Now that I've flown this a couple of years, 3 years in a row, I get it. I know what they're looking for. I'm really starting to understand that they're not looking for big long runs. Nobody's really looking for big long runs unless they tell you to. And so there's a really interesting mix of like, so there's like 2 things going on, right? Editors are going to typically use like 1 or 2 seconds of our footage at a time, but a lot of times they speed ramp our stuff. And if you're whopping all around, they're not going to be able to speed ramp it. And so we need to fly super smooth in case they're going to speed ramp it, but we also need to fly hard because that has like the energy that they're looking for from FPV, right? Like otherwise they'll just hire some schmuck with a Mavic. And so it's, and I'm really starting to like understand that and learn that I need to fly, like what I'm trying to do now is basically every battery fly half-ish of the battery hard and fly half-ish of the battery super smooth so that they can speed ramp. And yeah, that's really important is to understand that like if you're going to work a gig like this and you're not going to be the person editing it, even if you are going to be the person editing it, especially if it's going to get cut in with static camera footage, you got to give the editor those options. And so, yeah, and especially like for a gig where you don't get any feedback, you don't have the editor say like, hey, I'm looking for this, and this. Like when they say that to you, boy, is it so much easier. But when it's pretty rare, a lot of times it's just like, hey, come out and fly. Well, okay. Like that's actually way harder. It's like weirdly flattering because they're like, we trust you. We've seen your stuff. You're awesome. Just come and do it. But it actually makes our job a lot harder. And so, yeah, there you go. There's a little bit of advice for you. How to get gigs, how to fly once you've gotten a gig. if that's fun to you, don't feel like you have to. Subject-driven flying for me is incredibly fun. It is the most fun thing in FPV. I'm a TV radio major, right? Like, I spent 3 years in college in the radio studio, in the TV studio, in the editing suite. That's what I loved back then, and I've loved it ever since. And so, the fighter pilot thing side of FPV is very fun and it's great practice, but subject-driven flying is my absolute love. Got a new t-shirt this year. Very not topical, but very current. It's rooted in resistance is a new thing. I think they do like a new slogan every year. And so yeah, this is just perfect for the amount of abuse that this community has taken thus far this year for absolutely no reason. They don't bother anyone. They just want to be left the fuck alone. They were born in this way. They didn't choose it. Believe me, not many of them would choose it. It's just unbelievable. But hey, this is the world we live in. In the chat, you can FPV, B. Kirk, Frank Nicholas, Blitz FPV, Whoop Fox, Chef Bruno FPV, Uriel, Apache Smoke Wounded Sniper, McMucus, Nyafu, Uriel, Mupshot, Spaceman Spiff. What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming. We are going to just dive into the footage. I have a bunch of the footage chopped up in Premiere with a LUT on it so that it doesn't look terrible. I'm just going to let it roll, and you guys will watch a bunch of the parade. I do have some of the footage from the concert chopped up, not quite as much, and I don't know if it'll necessarily be as fun to watch, but maybe I'll open up that Premiere project. It was, and I'll kind of talk you through sort of how it went for like a full kind of recap. But yeah, it's been great working with them every year. The main reason that last year they didn't have budget for me is that they had like one of the people involved with Atlanta Pride had a friend that was a Mavic pilot that also had an Avata too. And so they hired him for a rate significantly lower than mine and kind of burned their budget on that. And I had been emailing them here and there, but like a big gap in time went by and I didn't email them in that gap in time, and they basically forgot about me. And then by the time I emailed them, they were like, shit, we don't have budget. And that was when I was like, hey, I would still love to come fly it. How about if ... And they only used like a couple of seconds of the footage from the other guy, which was decent. Avata 2 provides really great footage. But yeah, that was the deal last year. Teddy is currently sleeping and barking in his sleep over there on the couch. Now he's growling. He usually stops after like one bark and one growl, but he's dreaming about Oreos. Oh, shit. So, yeah. If you want something, go get it. Really, like, that's it. There's how you go get it. You got to be creative. You got to just do it. But, like, the biggest thing is just, like, go get it. Like, figure it the fuck out. Don't don't stop. Just keep going. Go get it. Go get it. Go get it. Go get it. You can do it. Every single person that is doing cool shit has just gone and gotten it. Sometimes that means putting in a bunch of work and making an incredible reel. Sometimes that means building a following on Instagram and or YouTube or both, right? Like there's a million different ways that you can go get it, but you got to go get it. And it's work. It's hard goddamn work. It's time consuming, but the payoff can be pretty awesome. Or it might not work, right? That like if you put enough time and effort in. I just heard the other, I forget where I heard this, but I don't know if I was on a show or just like a reel on Instagram or something. But some ultra famous person said that you've got to put a bunch of work in. Oh, it was I forget his name, but he basically said that like good fortune is when luck strikes somebody that's putting in a ton of work. And that like I 100% agree with that. Yeah, okay. Every once in a while there'll be somebody that like hasn't put much work in, but they just get ultra lucky. A lot of times like they're born into it, right? Silver spoon in their mouth, and then they get a wild opportunity, and like great. That's not most of us, you know. And so for us mere mortals that weren't born into privilege, you got to do a bunch of work, and then you got to get lucky. In the process of doing a bunch of work, you know, good shit's gonna happen. But like, you know, the people that make it big or whatever, that's the best description of it that I think I've ever heard. Is it's people that have put in a ton of work, and then that lucky thing happens. Typically, you know, yeah, there you go. It's the guy that just won the Emmy for that show. It might even not be an Emmy. It's the show about normal people. It's the comedy about normal people. There you go. Somebody knows the show that I'm talking about just from that horrible description. In the chat, if you want to talk directly to me, type CiottiFPV. You can put Nat in front of it, but you don't have to. Head on over to CiottiFPV.com. Join my Patreon. That's the absolute best way that you can support me if you like these live streams and you'd like to see them continue. This is totally crowdfunded. The only way I can do it is with support from you beautiful people. Hopefully I've saved you and will continue to save you more than $3 a month, so you know you can have an excuse for your significant other as to why you're supporting this weird guy on the internet. $3 a month will get you onto the Patreon. That gets you full access to the Discord, a big ass playlist over on YouTube that's unlisted with lots of really fun stuff, access to the Patreon itself with all kinds of like technical posts, and access to the spreadsheets that I've got with like loads of tinywhoop data. Lots of good stuff. Well worth $3 a month. It's 10 cents a day, yo. Come on now. 10 cents a day. Do it. Speaking of Losi 5G, thank you for joining the Patreon. Welcome to the Gangly Gang. Green Thumb FPV, thank you for joining the gang, my friend. I appreciate the support very much. Mario Zampolo and Mark Kunoff. Mark Kunoff has been on there. He must have jumped off and then back on. But Mario Zampolo, I think you might be a new patron. Thank you, brother. Thanks for jumping back on as well, Mark. And then Stephen H. I'm not gonna Oh wait, no, hold on. Stephen H. did a PayPal. Thank you for the support, brother. Much appreciated. And then here we go. Christopher, just Christopher. Welcome to the Gangly Gang. Thank you for the support, my friend. These are apparently I had a big chunk of emails that didn't get handled, and those were in there. So forgive me for taking so long to give you guys shout outs. And then Josh Bergeron as well. Josh Bergeron sent a $20 PayPal during a live stream a while ago that I didn't see, and I just unearthed it in my my old ass emails. So I think I'm actually caught up. My email is an absolute war zone. I get like over 100 emails a day. It's just an absolute disaster. Not all questions from you guys, but like all kinds of nonsense. So apologies for taking so long to give you guys your shout outs. That's another perk of joining the Patreon, is you'll get a shout out eventually. Now that I'm caught up, you'll get a shout out, not months later, I promise. I'm sunburned. I got cooked pretty good yesterday. Saturday night, I got there at like 5 o'clock, so I was fine. It got cold Saturday night though. Holy hell, man! I was not expecting that. In the chat, Chef Bruno says "fat song," lol. Fizz PV made that song happen with artificial intelligence. Uriel says I'm here, and also for the others, your pride is a lot decent. The Amsterdam. I imagine Amsterdam Pride is pretty fucking wild. For some reason, Apache Smoke Wounded Sniper typed CiottiFPV, but it didn't light up an orange. That's super weird. You didn't spell it wrong either. That's weird. Apache Smoke says, good morning from China, still here visiting T-Hobby. How are you all doing? Any questions for T-Hobby, just let me know. What stator size is the F30? There's my question for T-Hobby. And do they want to sponsor? Do they want to send me a set and or sponsor me? I've been such a fan of T-Motor forever. And they're pretty picky with just, you know, mad respect to them. They seem to be a little bit picky with who they sponsor, and that's totally fine. I also talk a lot of junk. I totally understand when companies don't want anything to do with me. Uriel says, good news. Blitz FPV says, the Mobile 8 rules. Love mine as much as anything I fly. Yeah, man, for sure. I will say this. I need to... There were a couple moments where this thing was acting a little weird. I thought I noticed it when I switched over to these props. These are not fresh propellers that I put on here, though. Apparently, I banged up all of my 2015s. So these are all 4 used props. I just did a race day quads order because they got the Gep RC 1002 25,000s back in stock. And so I picked up 3 more of those, 2 extra Mobile 8 frames because this one broke. The fix is holding up really well, though. The T7000 fix is completely fine. But it can't be good to have a broken frame. And then, yeah, all 4 of these props are a little bit beat up. So I got a couple of extra sets of these 2015s. So hopefully that cleans it up. But, yeah, I might need to just, like, chill the PID tune out a little bit or dial the filters in a little bit better because there were a couple moments where this thing was not... It was just not doing exactly what I told it to do, which usually means that it's picking up a little bit of an oscillation and feeding into itself just for a split second. But this thing was super awesome, man. There was a bunch of wind, and there was all hell breaking loose. At the beginning of the live stream, you saw one of the most fun batteries that I had with this, hanging out with a bunch of roller skate and bladers at the Rainbow Crosswalks. That was like just such that battery with this thing. Also, I don't know if it was that battery, but another battery. I flew the 2S 450 MAH battery on this thing, and it ran for over 5 minutes. Apparently, the 04 Lite stops the file at 5 minutes. I didn't know that. But yeah, I pulled the footage out of it, and I'm like, why is there an extra file in here that's only like 20 seconds long or something like that? I'm like, wow, okay. So yeah, the 450 mAh battery is a lot. That kind of runtime, like, I don't know. As I described to someone that was asking me a whole bunch of questions at Pride about FPV, runtime sells quads, flight performance gets you good footage. And a 450 mAh battery on this is going to be like mega runtime, but you're carrying around extra weight. Why? You don't need to run the thing that long. So yeah, even on a big, heavy 2-inch with a 3D printed canopy, the Flywoo camera holder thing, an ND8 filter rate, like this is full blown fat boy 2-inch. The 450 mAh 2S batteries are a bit much, unless you're going to really be hammering on it. The GNB 380 and Flywoo 420, which seem to be the exact same battery, those are really what I recommend for this. Those are the other 3 batteries that I flew, and the runtime was like, I don't know, 3.5, 4 minutes. It was just right. And it's going to fly better like that, right? Cutting the weight down on the battery is going to make a huge difference. And they don't sag or anything like that. So, yeah. But this thing was so much fun, dude. You guys hopefully got to see, like, let me play some more. I'm going to play all of the footage from this, because it's just ridiculous. And they used it in the edit. Like, they cut footage from this in with, like, you know, proper cameras on gimbals, right? Like big full frame censored DSLRs and mirrorless and stuff like that. They cut that in with this, and you can't tell. Just the coolest thing ever, man. The 04 Lite on a properly built tinywhoop is just the coolest thing, man. My God. All right, so wait, was this the battery here? I don't want to play the same battery that I did at the beginning of the stream. Okay, so that was actually the first battery that I flew with this thing. That was the battery. Was that the... Yeah, the battery that I played for you was the battery with the 450 mAh. And that was a 5-minute long... Yeah, that's right. The new intro song is really long. So here's the end of that battery. There's no need for me to show you that because it's just me landing. And then, so, here we go. Here's the next battery that I flew from it. So by this point, and I'm going to tell you about how things went. But for the record, by this point, I was at the Rainbow Crosswalks, which was like the last spot that I flew from. And I told these guys behind me to give me a little bit of energy this next time that I took off. So they were super good sports. They were just fascinated by what I was doing. I flew from this spot for like 2 hours. And they were like one by one, they would like come up and like ask me questions. They were super cool, everybody at Pride is just the nicest people that you will ever meet. And yeah, they were no exception. It is such a beautiful gathering of human beings, and like also it is one of the only times that you will have this massive group of people and not one person will judge anything. Like, there is zero judgment. You can show up wearing a furry costume. You can show up wearing bondage shit. You can show up wearing a t-shirt. You can show up, like, just wearing a G-string, and not one person... And it doesn't matter if you're big, small, whatever. There is, like, no judgment there whatsoever. I never necessarily, like, really realized that, per se. But for some reason I realized that this year, and I was like, you know what? That's pretty cool. That's super unique, right? Like, even, like, just everywhere else you go, there's going to be some amount of judgment from someone there. It's just kind of the way it is. But yeah, with the LGBTQ community, you just don't get that. And it's a really unique kind of thing. You know good and well, you know goddamn well that I'm going to shoot that O. You know it. You know I'm going to do it. You know I'm doing it. And now she started to... She's freaked me out, man. She started to twist it. I was like, what? No. And so I wasn't happy. So we're going to do it again. Damn it. We're going to get it clean. We're getting it clean, friends. This is going to make it into my edit for sure. Look at the reaction from people to the tiny whoop. No sketchiness, no weirdness. That's the one that's probably going to make it into the edit. I did do it one more time just to try to get this run better. The wind was a bit much for a little while here in this area. Flying a proper plastic toy quad at this was the coolest thing ever. Having like no fear of smacking somebody in the face with like a 399 gram rig, right? It was just so cool. Having something that's, I forget what this thing weighs all up. It's like 58 grams or something like that, 60 grams, I don't know. But like flying something that like I could confidently hit one of these people at full force and they would just laugh, right? Like, look, I came at that guy and he was just like, whoa, cool, right? It's just like the flying the tinywhoop, it's fine. Like every once in a while somebody will be like, whoa, but like nobody gets mad per se. Flying something this small and this infinitely safe that's made of plastic, like, oh man, it was so I could, like, what it was is I could do all of the things that I've always wanted to do. I could drop down low, I could get right in people's faces, and like, not only is it safe totally safe to do that, right? It's pretty safe to do that with a tinywhoop, but like, so not only is it completely and utterly safe, it's the reaction. Like that guy, if I'd done that to that guy who just took a picture of me, I just saw him taking a picture of me, so I was actually talking to him. If I'd done that to that guy with the Cinesplorer, he would have been like, oh shit, because it's a lot bigger and it's a lot louder and it's not a stupid little fucking toy, right? Like, it's, oh man, it's just, this was so fun. I was getting hammered by the wind, and I can't really I mean, I can technically put this through GyroFlow, but the quality is already like, you know, just kind of barely good enough. And so like I won't put this through GyroFlow. I'll leave it as it is, and I'll just cut around wherever it's being kicked around, right? Like there, like I'll cut that little bobbly wobbliness out. But this, yeah, oh my God, Tiny Whoops, she dropped her flag. All right, look at this reaction. Like, it's just so. And what's really cool too, I guess the third thing is a lot of people don't even notice it. Like, it's so small and it's so quiet that a lot of people just like don't, which is kind of a good thing. Like, I prefer them to notice it and be like, oh, and get a reaction, but sometimes it's actually cool when they don't notice it. And you can get like a natural, like whatever, like sometimes, you know, they're just chilling and they're looking cool, and then they don't notice you and you just get them kind of chilling and looking cool. Just awesome. Awesome. And I'm so glad. So when I delivered them the footage, I put it in my Google Drive and I made them 3 folders. Concert, parade, and then 4, I literally named this folder 4 fun plastic tiny drone. And I because like I didn't want, you know, the footage doesn't look as good. It's kind of vibrating around, right? Like it's not horizon leveled, it's not smoothed out. It's like raw looking footage, right? And I didn't necessarily want them to be like, well, what the fuck, what is he doing? And I'm so glad it really, like, it just totally justifies how good the 04 Lite is, that like a proper editor that had probably a few editors that were working together on this, because they had a whole team of videographers with big boy cameras, big fancy stuff, right? They looked through all this phenomenal footage and they used some of the footage from this. They used something that was like absolutely awesome, which is me like yaw spinning 180 degrees. You guys will see it in the edit. And showing like the Coca-Cola banner. But still, like the fact that 04 Lite footage got used in like a professional Pride Atlanta edit is, to me, like the coolest thing ever. Look at these flags, yo. Look at the wind that this thing is putting up with right now. Look at that flag fucking straight out. It was, there were certain spots in between the buildings where the wind was just like funneling through. So when you see this thing getting kicked around, that's what's basically going on. Like now that I dropped it, so basically what I was doing is I was dropping down really low, and when I was down low, all of the people would be blocking that wind. But every time yeah, you can really see it there. So yeah, just super cool. And again, like the reactions from people were just the greatest, right? Smiles, waves, awesome. Everybody loved it. Ugh. I wish I'd brought more batteries. But this was really like proof of concept. This is the first time that I've like legitimately flown this on a paying gig, and flown it at a time where I could get good footage. I flew this at the Smile a While exotic car rally, but I flew it like after, like when I was just screwing around with it. I didn't fly it like at a good time with a scenario where flying the tinywhoop would have been a better idea, or in that case the 5-inch rig. So it was just me kind of dicking around with it, and none of the footage that I got with it was really any good because it was really low light. And so yeah, this was super fun. Also, I'm now I flew all of this with the Goggles 2 / I always forget the name of these that aren't, I always want to call them Vista, but they're not Vista. They are I forget, they're the Goggles 2s with the non-adjustable diopters. My God, why do I always forget the name of these? Integra, the Goggles Integras. So I've got my Vista on my main tinywhoop now, on the newest version of that of DJI's firmware, so that I can use them on the Integras. And then this guy on the Integras, 04 Lite, and then the Avata-killer on the Integras, and now my main tinywhoop as well. The other thing that I did to my main tinywhoop is I got Crossfire the hell off of there. And I flew Gemini all day on both the, come on, yo. Look at Ronald McDonald getting all up on it. What? It's a little tiny whoop. Go build you one of these. Fly a bunch of stuff with it. Go somewhere to something that you want to fly. Figure out a way to talk to the people that organize it or their marketing department. Show them this and be like, hey, on your phone, or send them a link or whatever. Be like, look, this is what I can do with this thing. I would love to fly so-and-so event. They're going to be like, oh, there's no possible chance that that could ever hurt anyone ever, 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 ever. Sure, you can come fly my event or my store or my whatever. This is nuts. This is nuts, dude. You're gonna have to build it similar to this. You're gonna have to run an ND filter. Without an ND filter, this is a mess. So you're gonna have to either 3D print or have me 3D print this canopy for you. You're gonna get the Flywoo camera bracket. You're gonna get the Flywoo ND filters, and you should probably do a 2-inch build, really similar to this, if not identical to this. This is, I've been changing the setup with the 04 Lite for the last like 8 months, basically all year. And this is the first time that there is no jello whatsoever. The flight performance is just perfect. This is really, and for the record, like, Tri-Blades might have done a little bit better here. It did feel a little too slidey. What is nice though is that the bi-blades helped it in the wind. So I don't know, but I would have been able to do all this with the Happy Model 1103, 11,000s, and the Gem Fan 2023S Tri-Blades. So, yeah, don't feel like you have to do this same motor prop combo, but boy, oh boy, did this setup work well from a flight performance standpoint. So, all right, well, let me let the rest of this go. I think this is the last battery that I flew with this whoop, and then we'll go into the concert footage, and I'll just kind of hit you with a little after action report. I'm cool. I can say military things. AAR stands for after action report. Hold on, let me get caught up on chat while this plays. Uriel says, when for producers it starts to be normal, then they start asking requests. Indeed. Project Mockingbird says, I cleaned out my quad closet this weekend, stuff from even back in the brush days. I had so many 802 22,000 saved, yeah. I have quite a few old and moldy FPV things, including quite a few brushed motors. William Smith 1620, holy hell, a $100 super chat. Dude, thank you so much. Jesus, that is incredibly generous. He says, I'm building an open prop 2S 75mm with the HDZero AIO15, but I'm unsure what motors to use to make it fly like the HDZero M8. What's the HDZero M8? Why do I not know what the HDZero M8 is? Hold on, let me make sure this is the last file. Is there one more file? Ooh, this might be the Avata-killer. Hold on one second. Is this the Avata-killer? This is the Avata-killer. Oh yeah, that's the Avata-killer. We'll save that. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I need to search for HDZero M8. M8 Freestyle HD Outdoor. Oh, okay. It's the okay. It's a Mobula 7 HD basically, but with higher KV motors. Cool. So you want it to fly like that? Any suggestions? 1002 RC and power. Happy Model RS 1102. Something else? Really good question. Well, okay. So first and foremost, an open prop rig is never gonna fly like this. The flight characteristics are going to be completely different, because without the guards around the props, it's going to slide. It's also going to go really fast, right? Like with these ducted, even the big power 2S 2-inch, 1.8 inch, 1.6 inch rigs, there's never a point where this thing is going to go more than like, I don't know, 40 miles an hour, just because it's a brick, right? You can stand it all the way up like this, it's still a brick. So, but with these, when you turn this brick, it stops and it just goes. And so from a flight characteristic standpoint, it's going to be totally different for you to build an open prop rig. It's going to go faster forwards, and it's going to slide a lot more when you corner. And so when you corner, instead of being able to corner flat like a tinywhoop, you're going to have to really stand it up like this to stop it, unless you want to let it slide, right? So when you say fly like the HDZero M8, I just have to get that out of the way. What I think you probably are meaning is that you want it to have a similar power to weight ratio as the M8, as the HDZero M8, which is basically like one of these. And so it's going to sort of depend upon the frame and the battery that you choose to run. I'm going to make an assumption. Well, so building these all plastic framed setups, this is kind of as light as you can go. Even though they've got these guards around the outside, the fact that the frame is plastic and there's not much to it, it is awful hard to build an open prop setup that's going to be as light as this. But you can usually get it pretty damn close. And so I'm going to assume that you're going to use a frame and just a general setup that's going to be somewhat near the all-up weight of the M8. And now, prop selection is going to be a big thing here. If you want to run bi-blades for like the ultimate amount of slipperiness and slidiness, but also the maximum efficiency that you can get, you're not going to need quite as big of a motor. The problem with bi-blades is going to be durability. When you crash with an open prop rig on bi-blades, what typically happens is this, right? And now think about your motor bell, right? You come down really hard onto concrete, the prop rotates out of the way, and the motor bell bangs into the ground, and it pretty much immediately destroys that motor. So if you're going to crash it, what you actually want to do is build one with tri-blades, so that when you crash it, the propeller is still going to rotate, but then the other blade is going to hit, right? See the motor? It's not hitting the ground. If you hit hard enough, sure, it'll bend these props and the motor will hit the ground. But while it's bending these props, it's going to absorb a ton of energy. And so if the plan is to fly it hard and crash it into hard stuff like concrete, then you're going to want to build it around tri-blades. What's cool about that is the tri-blades will be more grippy. And so when you go to corner it, the tri-blades are going to dig in more, and you're not going to have to like stand it all the way up like this. You might only have to stand it up like that. So you'll be able to fly with more, you'll be able to coordinate your sticks more and fly more flat, which looks more cinematic basically, just kind of looks better. And so with the tri-blades, did you say what size? Building open prop 2S 75 millimeter. So I'm going to assume by you saying 75 millimeter, it's going to be a 1.6 inch propeller. If you don't HDZero AIO15, so you're building it with HDZero, so it's going to be pretty lightweight. Consider going up to 2 inch. Just consider it, because if you do that, you can run the GemFan 2023 S propellers, which are amazing. They're nice and durable propellers, and they will literally save you motors. So if you're going to build a basher out of this thing, I would recommend going up to a 2 inch frame. Whatever that 1.6 inch prop frame that you've got is, that company probably sells a 2 inch version of that frame. And so, yeah. consider that. If it's not going to be a basher, or if you're going to only ever crash it into like grass, then you can get away with the 1.6-inch setup. What are going to be the tri-blades that you run? You're going to run either the HQ ultralight tri-blades, or does Gemfan have a well-balanced tri-blade? Hold on. Micro propellers. Propeller size, we want 1.6-inch. Oh God, what's that in millimeters? Is that 40 millimeters? I think so, right? Yeah. So, yeah, this Gemfan tri-blade is not great. This Gemfan tri-blade is also not all that great. This is kind of one of the issues with building a 1.6-inch prop rig, is that there's not a great 1.6-inch tri-blade propeller. So if you're going to do a 1.6-inch build, don't build it for tri-blades. Build it for the Gemfan 1610 bi-blade, which is nice and durable. This is like an easy choice, great, well-balanced prop. Make sure you get a motor with a 1.5 millimeter motor shaft. That's going to be important. Or if you have to do a tri-blade, you could do this HQ ultralight tri-blade. The problem is they're kind of fragile. But if you want the grip, there you go. There's also a 1.6-inch HQ ultralight bi-blade, but again, it's kind of fragile and it's not that much better than the Gemfan 1610. So if you're going to do a 1.6-inch prop build, get yourself a couple of sets of the Gemfan 1610 and the HQ ultralight tri-blade. And those are going to be your propellers. If you do a 2-inch build, or if you just want to build a basher, Gemfan 2023 is the propeller that you want for sure. 2023S, sorry. It is, oh, for God's sakes. Where is it? Here it is. Not this one. This is the old Gemfan Hurricane 2023-3. You want the newer. Oh wow, Power Drone doesn't sell it. That's frustrating. Race Day Quad sells it because I just bought some. Props, 2-inch. Oh, come on. Load the rest of the page. Come on now. I'm sure it's in this row here that's not loading. Well, it's called 2023S, 2023S. Really? There we go. Oh, I guess it's not in this row. Well, maybe they don't sell it. Well, here's the 2015 version of it. This is the bi-blade version of it. If you're doing a 2-inch build, you might as well get a couple of these too. Gemfan Durable 2015. So there you go. And now, depending on the propeller and the size, right? 2-inch versus 1.6, bi-blade versus tri-blade, that's going to dial you in on which motors. 1.6-inch props, easily 1002 or 1102 motor. If you want to be a little bit lighter weight, 1002. If you want a little bit more of a grunty motor, 1102. The end. It doesn't really matter which brand you go with. They're all really good. You want to look for a KV that's between 14,000 and 18 or 19,000. If you go 18 or 19,000, you're going to motor limit down for sure to like 85%. And then if you run a bi-blade and you want some extra power, you can crank the motor limiting up. If you run a tri-blade, you're going to motor limit it down. Or if you just don't need all that power, you're going to motor limit it down. If the plan is to run a tri-blade, or if efficiency is the most important thing to you, 14,000, 15,000 kV. RC and Power makes a brilliant 1002 that is 14,000 kV. That would be just absolutely perfect. You kind of can't go wrong with this motor, but there are a bunch of 18,000, 19,000 kV motors out there if you're power hungry and you want something that'll absolutely blast. 2-inch, you're just going to change the 2 at the end of the motor to a 3. So 1003 or 1103. is the motor size that you're going to want for a 2-inch prop. If you're going to run a 2-inch biblade, 1103, 1003. If you're going to run a tri-blade, 1103. But you can, if you want a lighter setup, 1003. If you want a more grunty setup, 1103. With the KVs, you don't want to go quite that high on a 2-inch rig. You want to, instead of like from 19,000 to 14,000, you want to shift that down. For you guys, it's this way. You want to shift that down to between 11,000 and 15,000 kV. The 1003s that I just put on this thing on 2-inch props are 1003 14,800 kV. Yep, 14,800 kV, and it blasts. These are great motors, really well suited since they're a little higher of a kV to the tri-blades. The previous set of motors that I had on here were 1103, 11,000 kV, and they ripped on the 2023 S tri-blades. When I put those motors under these biblades, they didn't have quite enough power for this guy. Your build is probably actually going to be lighter than this, because this is carrying around an extra 8 grams of 04 light, but you're going to have a carbon fiber frame, and so that'll take up some of that weight. So your performance envelope will probably be somewhere similar to this. But yeah, there you go. It's really think about, like, what do you want? Do you want it to be lighter weight so that it's more agile and it doesn't kind of slide around as much? Do you want it to be heavier weight so that it has more throw? But then you also have to balance that with, do you need durability? If you need durability in the 1.6-inch world, the only propeller that's going to give you that is the 1610 biblade. But the problem's going to be every single time with an open prop rig, you crash with that biblade, it's going to rotate the prop out of the way and bang the motor bell into the ground, and you're going to go through tons of motors. So really think about that. Like, really think about where you want to fly that thing. And that's going to be how you decide which one you build. All that being said, if you wanted to be safe, get the 2-inch frame. If you haven't already bought the frame, get the 2-inch frame, and then you can run it on the smaller props. If you decide that you don't need all that size, you can run the bigger frame on the smaller propellers. You can't run the smaller frame on the bigger propellers typically, right? There you go, brother. Tag me again if you need any kind of clarification there, because that is an outrageously generous super chat. Thank you so much, man. Very, very cool of you. Let me scroll back up and get a little bit more caught up on chat, but while I'm doing that, I might as well play the Avata-killer footage here for you guys. I'm kind of jumping around a little bit. So this is the Avata-killer, 399 grams with the battery, Gemini on board, 04 Pro, camera butter, ND8. Is this an ND8? Yep, ND8 filter. I had this at 1/120th of a second, 4K 60 frames a second. This is right out of the camera, no gyro flow, no nothing. I did not have these props on it. I wish I had. I had the Gemfan D76 5-blade propellers on here, which are great on my main Cinesplorer that has to pick up that big fat Hero12. But for something that's this light, I don't need all that extra grunt. And so moving forward, I'm going to keep this thing on these. I have 3 different tri-blades that I'm going to try this on to see which one it likes best. But I really like these T-Motor tri-blades, mainly because they're red, and now I've got a red and purple rig. But yeah, I'm gonna bounce between a couple of tri-blades and see which ones I like best. Basically, this thing is so light that with those 5 blades, it kind of makes too much power, and the hover point is too low, and it's kind of too grippy. If I'm gonna run something that's this lightweight, I should take advantage of the lightweightness. And the reason that I went to the 5 blades is because that camera is so heavy on that thing, and you really need that grunt. It also quiets it down with all that weight. It makes a lot of noise, and the 5 blades are a lot quieter than tri-blades. Something that's this light, these tri-blades should not be super noisy, and I'll get some more efficiency out of them, and it'll be better in the wind, because when I'm turning, the wind will blow through lack of 2 extra blades here. So I'm actually kind of excited. This is me dialing this thing in. This is the only really like the 3rd time I've ever flown this thing. And I only really flew 1 battery with it, I think, at the concert at night and then here during the day. But I was really impressed. And Gemini was just insane. Oh my God, dude. Gemini is outrageous. Crossfire is dead. Yo, Gemini is it's just crazy. I don't know if it ever dipped down from 100. And like I had the 04 Pro go orange on me a few times. Like I pushed really far down the street behind a lot of trees, and Gemini just didn't give a shit. I was super impressed. This is also the first time that I've really pushed the Gemini range. And so yeah, you see me kind of bouncing up and down. I'm not used to this rig. I got to get the hover point is just too low. Like I'm too low in the throttle. I'm not necessarily comfortable on it. I'm probably going to let me make this a kid friendly live stream, and I'll fast forward past that. Everybody was going completely insane at this stripper float, which was a float for a local brothel. Not really a brothel, but and so they were like, you gotta go to the group behind me was like, you gotta fly them. I wasn't gonna fly them, but they kind of browbeat me into it, so I was like, okay. But by the time I got up in the air, they were like way far down. So, but yeah, this thing flew really well. It's and this is kind of dialing it in. I could kind of notice I did notice that this thing is a lot quieter since it's lighter. And it was sort of like in between the tinywhoop and the full-blown cinewhoop of like the reactions that I got from it were a little softer. Like you see she was like, oh God, right? Like with the tinywhoop, that wouldn't have happened. But it did feel like this thing just being quieter, being lighter weight, it did get a little less of that like scared kind of reaction from people. And so that's pretty cool. I'm really impressed with how good 04 Pro looks. It's a shame that it's not, so this is 4x3. It's a shame that it's not 8x7 for like super Instagram vertical crop ability. But this is pretty tall, man. This is pretty doable. I don't think, I don't know. It's really tempting to try to move to 04 Pro, move away from GoPro and get on to 04 Pro for everything. But like, there's still something. GoPro is still a little bit better. I feel like the colors are still a little bit more natural. Everybody keeps saying that the colors are still natural. I don't know. It's a tough decision. There were a bunch of guys out on this balcony for a while that were being awesome and giving me good reactions. They weren't out there, so I was like, oh, maybe I can frame this pride flag up just right and then give a cool dive. Kind of chickened out on the dive. I was worried about power lines that I couldn't kind of see in there. And so I was just kind of being chill. This is I obviously wanted to fly through that little thing, so I scouted it out real quick first to make sure that these guys kind of saw. I like to kind of do that and maybe get somebody's attention so that they don't like act weird if I get a little bit close to them. I didn't necessarily get their attention, but it also lets you kind of see like, hey, is there like a weird wire in the way? If you're gonna shoot a gap, right, scope it out. Make sure you're not gonna hit something when you're shooting the gap. Had to frame up, regulate guns, not women. I wish they weren't so close to the group in front of them there. I wanted to get like a really nice one for them. That's an awesome group here in Atlanta that I didn't know existed. That's fun stuff, man. 04 Pro, how fucking impressive. This is 4K 60. See that reaction? Like those are the reactions that I want. I'm for whenever I do these live gigs, I'm always trying to figure out like how do I get that like magical reaction out of people. That's what the editors want. The editors want that, it's yeah. This was I could just feel it. Like when I'm flying, around people, I'm very cognizant of like trying to get that reaction out of them. And so like I really notice, here's PFlag. They're a wonderful organization here in Atlanta that helps with, they focus on trans folks. PFlag is absolutely great. I'm so happy that I saw him here and got a little bit of footage for him. I'm going to contact him and crop it out and send it to him. Clip it out rather and send it to him. So yeah. And of course, you know, this rig being as lightweight as it is, it's more maneuverable. It gives me more confidence to kind of like drop down, like person level, right? It's the first year I flew this event, like it's so chaotic. There's so much going on that I really didn't feel comfortable dropping down below head height at all. Last year, I got a little bit more comfortable. This year, especially with the tinywhoop and with the Avata-killer, it was like, yo, this is cool. Like, I'm in control enough. You'll notice that, like, a lot of times I'll do, like, a little circle, and that's just to get some like, sort of situational awareness of what is in that area. Is there somebody on a bicycle that's going to come into that, like, empty space that I've kind of scouted out, right? So that's kind of key. Is if I can find a big enough area for me to comfortably drop down in, is to do that circle and really, like, I'm not looking down at all. I'm looking out. In a second ago, there was a bicyclist that was coming into the area that I was going to jump into, that I was going to drop down into. And by doing that little circle, I was able to spot him and be like, nope, like wait for him to go by. You know, little tricks like that I'm kind of figuring out. I've gotten to practice this quite a bit with all the live broadcast flying, with the America Criterium Cup and National Cycling League, and I forget the name of the organization now. So yeah, I've gotten kind of good at that. And then again, in all of those gigs, I've gotten good at like figuring out like how do I get reactions out of people? Like how do I get people to look at the drone and like give me a big smile and like wave and freak out, right? Versus like a lot of times it's just they just stare at it in this weird like deadpan way, or you all know the reaction, the negative reaction that sometimes we'll get of people like, you know, just getting pissed. And so, yeah, there you go. Let me throw on some of the concert footage. So here's the, oh wait, no, I edited some of this down. Hold on. Let's save this. I'm gonna close this out, and then here's concert, and then we got project here. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get 2 edits for this stuff because it's really good marketing. And with these edits, I can tag a lot of these businesses, and in theory, the people that are at these businesses will see themselves and hopefully send it to their marketing people, and then that's one of the ways that you can actually get connected with the people that have the budget to bring you onto cool projects. And I'm actually going to do it this year. I meant to do it last year and got busy and didn't end up doing it, which was just silly. So here, let me just chop this and come on, Premiere, you can do it. You can do this, Premiere. I have faith in you. So here is the Avata-killer, and then we're gonna roll right into. Yes, we're gonna roll right into the tinywhoop. So if you were ever wondering what 04 Pro versus 04 Lite looks like, here you go. It's 04 Pro at night, which is kind of tough, but yeah. Can this be, can you get a little bit bigger, friend? No? Is that big enough? What's that look like? Yeah, it's big enough. So yeah, 04 Pro at night. Really impressive. I will say this, though. When you fly, and I knew this is why I didn't go into the 03. When you expose, like when you're flying through the same camera that's recording your HD footage, if you want it to look like this, where the blacks are black you have to set it like that, and you have to fly like that with it. When I was flying the rig with a Vista on board and a GoPro Hero 12, I can set the GoPro Hero 12 to expose like this, but then the Vista will brighten everything up. And so, like right there, for example, there are times when you're flying with 04 Pro that it's pitch black. You learn to work with it. You have situational awareness. You just don't point it in directions that are all black. You always keep some reference point that's bright. But yeah, that's one of the reasons that switching over to 04 Pro is a little bit like, can we really do this? I guess you could argue that, like, well, you can build something to put the 04 Pro up top as your HD camera and then have either another 04 Pro on the bottom for your FPV camera or an old school Vista. But, like, you know, there's this thing that people do where they're like, oh, you're still using Vistas? What's wrong with you? What are you, broke or something? It's like, no, dude, like, that's a Vista at night. Well, here's a perfect example. This is probably going to roll right into, oh, no, I have it on this memory card. Ah, perfect timing. Watch this. So here's what it looks like. Oh, fuck. Here's what it looks like. Here's what I have to fly through, basically, at night with the 04 Pro. Also the Avata-2. If you're going to fly the Avata-2 and try to get this is what you're going to get, right? This is what you got to work with. Versus a rig with a Vista on board. Here's what you're flying through. Right? Same time of night. I can see everything. Yeah, it's all noisy and horrible, but who cares? It's not your flight footage. Look how much brighter this is, right? This is legitimately safer to fly with. It's actually safer to fly through a Vista because it's an FPV camera, right? Like, the FPV cameras will crank the ISO to the friggin' moon, and even in damn near pitch black, you get lots and lots and lots of information in the shadows. Versus, you know, if you're going to only fly with an 04 Pro and you want it to look good, like, in fairness, yeah, sure, I could set this 04 Pro to crank the ISO up to the absolute heavens, and it would do almost as good of a job, or maybe as good of a job as the Vista, but then the HD footage is going to be all noisy and it's going to look terrible, right? So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully I haven't lost you guys. But I will say this. This was flyable. This was absolutely flyable. There were times where when these stage lights that shoot out over the crowd turned all the way off, that I had to just add throttle and punch out a little bit to be safe. So I was able to, it's like, you could literally say that it's safer to fly with a Vista on board and then something to capture the HD sitting up on top of it, like a naked GoPro, for example. But yeah, that's a big part of the issue with using the 04 Pro for absolutely everything. Now this is GoPro Hero 12 daytime footage with the GoPro LUT. I have not color corrected this at all, other than just to drop the LUT on here and reduce the intensity of the LUT a little bit. I've done like really, really, really light, rough edits here. It is one hell of a party on the lawn here. Everybody brings these easy ups, and it's absolutely wild. I would love, as much as I enjoy flying this event, the year that they don't have budget, or they just say like, no, you can't come and fly this event, I'm gonna have just as much fun actually going to this party and just like hanging out, because it's just awesome. It's just a wonderful group of super loving, non-judgmental, amazing people all in one place, just trying to have fun and not hurting a soul. And you know, many of them have had to deal with, you know, the bullshit that a ridiculous percentage of this country has thrown at them their entire lives, and it's like there's like a shared bond from that, and it's really 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 just incredible. You know, it's like the good part of Stockholm Syndrome. This is the opening shot that they used, which was awesome. I did this for them last year and I think the year before. It's just kind of a no-brainer. There's a bunch of trees, the Atlanta skyline's in the background, and then it's just the most incredible reveal ever. And so yeah, I'm editing around so these are like the opening acts, and there's not much of a crowd here, and so I'm trying my best to kind of edit around that and only cut in when there's like that layer of people on the gate. And now that's all I've had a chance to kind of cut down so far. You know what? I put 6 batteries in the title, but then I forgot to plug the charger in. We're gonna fly 2 batteries, my friends. We're gonna fly 2 NX69 tinywhoop batteries tonight, right at the very end of the stream. Hold on, this thing's booting up. Let me just plug this in here, and I'm gonna plug this one in. Fly 6 though. You guys should fly 6 batteries. Why does it say E2? What does that mean? No, not storage charge, you jerk. Regular charge. There we go. All right, cool. So, yeah, sure, save. All right, get this out of here. Here, hold on. Let me actually let me pull a file off the goggles where I flew pretty far away. Oh, that was me. I blew mulch all over the place, and so then I used the quad to blow the mulch back. Here we go. So here I flew real far down. Watch how good Gemini is. Hold on. I want to show you how far. So that's the rainbow crosswalk, right? So now we're going, that's a half a block. That's a full block down. Oh, it hit 98 there, but right back up to 100. At some point here, I think you're going to see, well, so we're down to 21 megabits per second, 19, 22, 19. There we go. So now see it getting blocky, and the Gemini is still at 100. That's ridiculous. Look at the noise floor though. The RSSI is all the way down in the 30s, but I mean that's just because there's a million people with cell phones blasting away. But the link quality, look, the DJI just went orange. Did you see that? There's orange DJI. See it on the bottom, and we're sitting at 100. It just touched 99, but back up to 100. Unbelievable, dude. Gemini is ridiculous. I will say this: Gemini on your transmitter, since it has two transmitters, it kills your batteries in your transmitter twice as fast. I'd flown, I don't know how many batteries, but I had just put a freshly charged battery into my transmitter before flying the concert, and then I flew a bunch of batteries at the concert, and then within a couple batteries here, it was low battery. I was like, what the hell's wrong? And then I thought about it. I'm like, oh, of course. It's double. It's literally running 2 modules at the same time within that one module. So yeah, I didn't think about that, but that's kind of cool. It's not cool. It's funny is what it is. So here's the parade. I chopped some of this down already. And so I'll let the bit of this that's chopped down play, and then we'll fly a couple batteries. Let me try to get caught up on chat a little bit more, though. Frank Nicholas answered. Okay, I think we're good there. Come on, Premiere, you can do it. Euro says, on Sunday I missed you. It would have been a nightmare stream. I was just ruined at the end of this. Oh, I didn't even give you guys a little bit of a play-by-play. So Saturday was pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Showed up at like 5, had magical VIP parking. That was pretty awesome. And then Oh, all I've really done is cut the beginning and the ends off these. This is gonna go on for fucking ages, but whatever. I'll talk you through some of the shenanigans. So yeah, and Maggie came with me on Saturday night, which was super cool. So yeah, got up in the air. So they had like an act that went on at like 5:10, another act that went on at 6:10, 7:15, 8:15, and then 9:20. And so basically what I did is I made sure that I flew one battery for each act to make sure that I got a little bit of flight footage of every single different performer. And so that's what you were kind of starting to see that I just got done playing there. Pretty straightforward, you know, get up in the air in the middle of their set when something cool is happening, when the lights are going bananas, or like, yeah, when there's something cool happening. Get up, fly the battery. What I would usually do is like do a bunch of horseshoes of the performer, and then when I got like one good pass, go out and fly the tents, try to find somebody giving me thumbs up or waving or something cool like that. And then usually by that point the battery's done, bring it on home. So pretty straightforward stuff Saturday night, nothing super insane. We got some great food. Yeah, everything went pretty well. They wanted me to stay 10 feet off the stage, which is always kind of a bummer because, you know, the GoPros are so wide angle that like 10 feet away is like 10 miles away. And so like I would gradually push it a little bit, and then they would call me on the walkie and be like, hey, can you give a little bit more space? And I would, yeah, of course, it's fine. But, you know, did my best. It's you know, if they put a restriction on you, like, you're doing your job. You're there to do your job. Absolutely. You know, you want to get the best possible shot in the entire world. But if in the process of getting that amazing shot, you totally piss somebody off, they're not going to bring you back on, and they might not even use the shot, right? And so when you're dealing with performers on a stage, you got to play by the rules. You got to let your ego, and you got to let that, like, oh no, it'll be worth it, go out the window. Like, you do what you're told. Like, you know, sometimes push it a little bit, but do it, like, just push it a little bit. Don't get up in some performer's face and have them, like, have a reaction, right? Like, they're there to perform. You're there to capture that performance within the guidelines that you've been given. It doesn't do them any good to get this, you know, 1 second of amazing footage. Like, look, they're already famous. They don't necessarily need your flight footage. Like, none of us are that good, as much as we like to kind of think so sometimes. Yeah, it's not about us. And that's, you know, that's tough because it's always just like, you know, no, I can give you something that's super amazing that you'll definitely use in the edit. Well, like, you know, look, man, they're going to put the edit up. Bunch of people are going to watch it. That's it. It's gone. Like, it's never as serious as we tend to kind of think it is. And so, yeah, you got to get that. You got to let that ego go. You got to stay within the confines, and you got to stay safe. That is one of the big mistakes that I see from a lot of the younger pilots. Not to like bag on young people, but they just don't have the maturity to like understand that. And that's when mistakes will happen, right? And that's when FPV gets a bad name, and that's when those of us that are trying to do this as a living get totally screwed. So that's pretty important. Buzzed home Saturday night. Of course, couldn't sleep, so I got all the footage run through real steady go, got it all uploaded to the Google Drive. They were super appreciative. Sent that over to them by the time I went to sleep. Up early early for me on Sunday, and got on site to shoot, to fly the assembly point before the parade stepped off at noon. So I got there at like 10:30 to fly the assembly point. They wanted me to fly like we would call it an administrative flight of the assembly point because it's mayhem, but they use the same assembly point every year, so they wanted overheads of it, so that when they're like training people and when they bring new people in that want to volunteer to help, they can be like, here's what the assembly point looks like. And it's really, really like it was probably the most valuable flight that I had because they'll be able to use this year after year. So like the assembly point is like a big X of roads, and so I flew like the one part of the X low, and then I flew it high. I flew one part low, then high, low, then high, low, then high, to really give like this in like 2 minutes. They can show every single little like area of where the different floats are going to line up, and that was actually kind of neat. And then I had a little bit of a break, but that's when I had like a little bit of an oh shit moment, which is the guy that brought me on, Jason. He's like, hey, you know, we want you to fly the step off of the parade at noon here at the assembly point. But then the one shot that we absolutely really want, that they actually didn't even use, is the huge rainbow flag crossing the rainbow crosswalks. Well, the rainbow crosswalks are at the end of the parade, and the parade route is long. And the rainbow flag is at the front of the parade. And so, yeah, I was like, yo, it's going to take me over a half an hour to just walk that. Like I put it in maps, and in maps, you can hit the walking icon. It'll tell you how long it'll take you to walk. And it was a half an hour walk. And I'm like, yo, like, you know, the parade's going to be walking that. So like, I'm going to have to literally run that. And our plan previously was that I would fly the Fox, because that is insane, right? The Fox sign and then drop it down. And then I wanted to fly from the corner of the parade route as well, because there's a really cool dive there, which they used in the edit, which was instead of the rainbow crosswalk thing. And so I was like, you know, like, you got to get me a golf cart or something, but like all the roads are closed down. And so he was trying to get me a golf cart. In the end, I just got a workout yesterday. I flew those first couple of batteries that you saw there at the kickoff point, and then I just sucked it up and jogged, and I was able to jog fast enough to catch up with the front. And then at the Fox here was the second spot, so I was able to get, I think I just flew this one battery here at the Fox, but I was able to get enough stuff where I was happy not flying a second. And then I jogged all the way down to the corner. And what really worked well is that the parade does stop every so often. And so between me jogging and the parade stopping, I was always able to get myself back up to the front of the parade and then fly each different location. And they're 100% happy with they're like more than happy with what I got. And so it ended up working out. I was a disgusting sweaty mess. And my legs are absolutely annihilated. By the way, this is all run through Real Steady Go with Horizon Lock, so if it feels like it's really cropped in, that's why. I deliver them both the raw footage and the stabilized footage, and then I just let them know, hey, if you're gonna use any of the raw footage over the Horizon Lock over the smooth footage. Just let me know and I'll send you a file with the raw footage smoothed out, but still with the, you know, rocking back and forth. I've yet to have anybody take me up on that, though. Either they don't understand it, or what I think it is that all of the other footage has the horizon level. And for editors, you know, editing in footage with a level horizon with other footage with a level horizon looks a lot better and is a lot easier to kind of make happen. The other restriction that got put on me last minute was so at the Pride events, basically, we have to radio in every single time we're about to fly a battery so that the Pride ops team can radio in to Atlanta PD. This is how they keep all the other drones out of the air, and they did a better job of it this year than they ever have. I did not see a single other drone in the sky, which was just awesome from like a confidence standpoint. And so at the last second, APD said, oh, by the way, we have a bunch of our drones up in the air. We need your drone guy to stay below 100 feet. And so like that kind of sucked a little bit because it is fun every once in a while to hammer, 399 feet up and give that like, Mavic-ish top down. But, it is what it is. Like 100 feet is pretty high. I was, every time I stopped and flew and there was a tall building, I would just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 stories. And then I would, just make a mental note of like something that was near the 12th story and then never go above the 12th story. Realistically, they're not going to have their drones 101 feet up next to a big tall building. So like I could have easily just hugged the side of any of these buildings all the way up to the top and then just dove all the way down the side. But like I don't want, them to watch me do that in the edit and be like, what the hell? That's obviously not 100 feet. We specifically told you this, blah, 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 right? And, 100 feet's enough. I did a bunch of dives from 100 feet, and they were great. And they even used this one here. I'm a little annoyed that they used this horizon-locked version of the dive because it does this, which is not right? The horizon lock doesn't understand. That was actually... I wasn't happy with that one, so I really quickly redid it. This is the one that they did use in the edit. And like for us, this looks super weird. Maybe for everybody else in the world, this looks cool to dive it with that. But that's not what I did, right? I turned it over and I dove it normally. But the horizon lock doesn't know what the hell to do with that. And I mean, it looks fine, and it came out really good. It was good enough for them to use it, which is high fucking praise. And so, yeah, in my edit, obviously, I'll not use the horizon-locked version of that dive. Little dark in here. I'm actually kind of surprised how dark it got there. I was ND8 and 1/120th. That tends to be, like, the butter for a bright day with shade. And this is a very challenging kind of setup rate every time. Like, look at the... Look at how bright the street is up here, right? Like this is bordering on being all the way blown out, right? And so I think I might have let the auto exposure do a little bit of moving around. I think I had the ISO limited to 400, 100 to 400. So I think I was letting it move around a little bit. Usually, if you've got full-blown shade and then full-blown open sunlight with no clouds, you can't lock both the ISO and the shutter. You can lock the shutter, which is the more important thing to lock. Lock that at 1/250th or 1/60th. But you gotta let your ISO move around a little bit. Even with that bracketing from 100 to 400, a second ago I dropped into it was probably just a whole bunch of trees and a big building, so there was not even any bounce light in that little part of the street. That's the kind of thing you got to be cognizant of. Great reactions, even with the bigger, noisier, heavier rig. Hey, also I finally got GoPro Labs set up on my Hero 12, on this new Hero 12 that I had to get. Good Lord, the histogram feature on that is so nice. I've usually what I'll do is I'll pull up GoPro Quick on my phone and just do like a visual spot check pointed at the brightest brights and the darkest darks and make sure that they don't look blown out on the screen of the GoPro, which has always worked totally fine. But man, having the histogram, where that becomes a pain in the ass is when it's really bright out. You got to like shade your phone, and it's just not having the little histogram on the back of the GoPro from GoPro Labs. It's one of the features. It's just a total no-brainer. You just point it at the brightest brights. You make sure they're not clipping off the end of the histogram. Point it at the darkest darks. Make sure, and you're done. Like really, really nice. It's really silly that I didn't put Labs on my old 12, but all's well that ends well. Flew a bunch of batteries. Everybody loved it. Got like I did end up getting on this battery the shot with the rainbow crosswalk and the rainbow flag. Maybe they'll use it in another edit. But yeah, that was the main big shot that they wanted. It's going to be coming up here. It was they paused here for a long time, and I didn't want to burn another battery. And so I was right at the end of the battery by the time here when they started walking towards the rainbow crosswalk. I really kind of wanted to get them in the middle of the intersection, but then you would lose this other rainbow walkway here. But yeah, I made it happen. And I think from an FPV's perspective, the shot that I got was about as good as you can, because it shows that intersection and then it swoops down into the flag. And when I showed it to Jason afterwards, he was like, "Oh, dude, that's perfect." So I think this is it. So I've just been killing time. Because I wanted to get them moving with it, right? Like, and so I'm just killing time. So here it is. This is like the big hero shot that they really wanted. There's a big gap. There's so many power lines in that intersection. But there's a big gap in the middle, so that I was, the plan was to shoot down through the middle, and that frames everything up. Unfortunately, they'd stopped walking right there, but at this point, like, I'm pretty much in it, coming towards the end of the battery. I want to keep this shot going in case they wanted to speed ramp through it, so I let it run a little bit further here rather than going back and doing it again. I was kind of like happy enough with that. And I was also worried that if I tried to get the elevation back up, that they would cover up that first part of the crosswalk anyway. So let it roll. Love flying through the bubbles. My God. So cool. And then gave him a little bit of high elevation here. Yeah, I could have done it. I could have redone it and still got him and got him walking with it. But I think that what I got there was good enough, and this is like the absolute bitter end of the battery. Ugh. So much fucking fun, my God. Oh, the best event of the year, man. Absolute best event of the year. Just the best people, the kindest people. Ugh. Fantastic. Let me get caught up on chat. Well, here, hold on. I'll just let this keep rolling. So this is the Cinesplorer. Look how good the Cinesplorer does. Props in, lightweight, ready to dive. Have you ever seen a front-heavy Cinesplorer dive anywhere near this well? I certainly haven't. It is with leveling, but it just drops straight down. God, it's so fucking good. Oh man, like when I'm in the goggles and somebody reacts like that, it's because you don't get that reaction. You way more often you get no reaction or a little bit of a negative reaction. When you get that good of a reaction, like, it's just the biggest dopamine hit ever. It's just so cool when somebody understands what it is, when somebody looks at it and they're like, "Oh, cool, it's a floating camera, it's not someone spying on me." I get the reactions that I get at Pride are so different. Every single event with the LGBTQ community, it's just so obvious that, like, these people don't take themselves as serious. These people don't think that you're spying on them. Like, the only bad reactions that I get is when, like, somebody doesn't hear it and then they see it at the last second and they're like, "Oh my God, what is that?" It's not, you don't get that reaction of these idiots that think that they're such a big deal that, like, somebody's going to be spying on them. It's ridiculous. It's just so silly. Like, I'm on these guys' balcony and they're just smiling, like, having a good time. Come on. So good. Ugh. All right. Let me get caught up on Chad. Chef Bruno FPV says, "Was 52 degrees brisk and nice. I can't wait to fly in this weather." Nyafu says, "I have a spare 04 Pro and all the parts for a 2-inch, but I really don't want to buy the 04 Lite because I already have a super long cart list. How could I make the 04 Pro perform well?" It's never going to touch. I mean, the 04 Pro is so much heavier than the 04 Lite. It'll never perform as well. I mean, you can build it into a rig that has a ton of power, and you can get the same power to weight ratio. But all that extra weight, especially on a 2-inch, is going to make it really carry its momentum. But, you know, you can build something that has a crazy power to weight ratio. If you're going to build something with the O4 Pro, though, don't build a 2-inch rig. Build at least a 2.5, if not a 3. 3-inch is going to be the sweet spot for the O4 Pro. It's just a heavy bastard. Whoop Fox says, I've been going to Prides for 13 years, and every year it's just as good. Hell yeah. This was actually the 55th anniversary of Atlanta Pride. It is one of the biggest prides in the country. It is absolutely awesome. William Smith, thank you again for the incredibly generous super chat. Uriel says, happy to hear about this success. Did you do that on purpose? Nyafu says, so what's actually the best 2-inch motor? 1103, 1102, 1103, 1003, 1102, 1103. There is no best. There's just different. You know, it depends on the all-up weight. It depends on the propeller that you're going to run. On some rigs, a 1003 will get the job done. Some rigs will, an 1102 will get the job done. Some rigs will need the 1103. It really just depends. Uriel says, was there wind in form of natural wind, as in people farting? ThrashFPV says, KV recommendation for 2S 75mm. Not enough info to go off of, but depending on the all-up weight, depending on the prop that you're going to run, you're probably going to want to be somewhere between 10,000 and, I'm sorry, not 10,000. You're going to want to be somewhere between 14,000 and 19,000. Bi-blade props, you're going to want higher KV. Tri-blade props, you're going to want lower KV. Denzel the Terrible says, you dunderhead forgot to post in Discord. Oops. I didn't hit send. I didn't hit enter. God damn it. Oh, for Christ's sakes. Sorry, fellas. Well, there. I put something up. Cole FPV did it. Thank you, dude. This is... I've totally ignored chat the entire time, though, so this is a good stream to watch after the fact. Danzel Turbo says, I missed the first part. What were you flying the parade with? 2-inch tinywhoop with 04 light, the 04 Pro Avata-killer, but the majority of it was the main cinewhoop with the Hero12. Which has a Vista on board. Blitz FPV says Black Market FPV has Happy Model 2G4s for $57.99. That's a great price. I bought 2. You guys can buy them out. Nice. Black Market FPV, Happy Model 2G4s. Go get them, friends. The most durable and just trouble-free, great video quality AIO that we've ever had for tiny whoops. Thrash FPV says, will we see you on the stripper float? You will not. Teleport FPV says 5,000 MAH? No. But what's that in reference to? Oh man, Microsoft Auto Update. I spent another hour trying to figure out how to get it uninstalled. I deleted a bunch more files, and now it's being even more obnoxious. Now, like once an hour, every hour, it's telling me that there's a problem with the installer. Microsoft, you can go straight to hell. Islander FPV says, I would bet DJI is working on an air unit with dual ISOs to address the low light flight safety versus capture quality. Might be Cinelifter large format, super expensive, but we can dream. I don't know if you can do it with a single sensor. I think you have to do that with a second sensor, because otherwise what you would have to do is you would have to switch the ISO quickly. So it would basically cut your frame rate in half, right? So like if for example, the 04 Pro, it can do 4K. Will it do 4K 120? I guess it will. I guess it'll do 4K 120. So basically, it would have to do 4K 120, but then cut it in half to 4K 60, because it would need to hit the sensor with, hey, ISO 1800, and then, hey, ISO 200, 1800, 200, 1800. So it would cut your frame rate in half, and then it would kill you on latency, because in your goggles, you can't have that flickering bright, dark, bright, dark, bright, dark, bright, dark. So, like, if they can make the sensors so powerful that they'll do, like, 4K 240, you know what I mean? Because the ISO is sensor based. Like, you can't, you can't take a higher ISO and then just, like, cook it down. Like, the noise is the noise. So, yeah, I think you would have to do 2 lenses and 2 sensors, kind of like the RunCam Hybrid. I'd be down with that. RunCam Hybrid was great. Uriel says they're waving at you. They know you. Cijo says, you don't get the guy that's like, I'm going to shoot that spy thing down, boy. Yeah, exactly. Uriel says, here, here, here. Cijo says, I bought a van, so if my Bentley makes me go bankrupt, I can live in my van down by the river. Oh, shit. All right, let me make sure William Smith doesn't have any other questions. So he's a purple W. I'm happy to do it. I've referenced the show so many times for different builds. Awesome. 80 millimeter happy model. Yes, similar. Yup. Caillou Mini that works in the works that will cover my 2-inch needs. Very cool. I want Grunty. I have some Happy Model RS 1102s on the way. Makes sense. HDZero M8 has 1102s. And then I agree. 40mm props on 2S is nothing compared to 2-inch. I just want the smallest build on 2S with HDZero. Okay. Okay. So the suggestions I gave you, I think cover you and gives you some direction with the Caillou Mini. Awesome, dude. Awesome. Love it. Thank you again. Let's fly a couple batteries, and then I will go get a snack. I am very hungry. We are going to fly the NBD Hummingbird V2. Pretty much stock, different canopy, different propellers. These are HQ 1.2 by 0.9 by 3 tri-blades, and then this is a Bri-Brain NBD BI canopy. That's it. That's the setup. Nice and simple. Probably like, what's the Hummingbird sell for nowadays? When it first went on sale, I think it was like $98. But then at some point, they decided, hey, we've got to make money, and I think they moved it up to like $120. It's still a really good deal for $120. And it's been outrageously durable for me. I kind of can't believe how durable this Hummingbird V4 has been. There's been a bunch of times where I'm like, yeah, this is definitely going to die now. And it just doesn't. It just will not die. All right. 2 quick batteries. I forgot to set any of the gates up, but we will make do, because I ain't standing up. First and foremost, though... Okay. What? Do I have props on wrong? Why is this thing... Why are the rear motors spinning? Oh. I accidentally put the rear motors on the wrong side. Oh, for God's sakes. Well, this is what I wanted to do. But now, instead, I'm going to have to hook this thing up to Betaflight real quick. I don't have any other... Yeah, your guys' names are showing up weird. I don't understand it. I'm sure it's just YouTube being YouTube. Just breaking all the things. YouTube gives you the like when you set your screen name, your actual YouTube name or whatever, they give you the option to then put a shorter name as. And I think what it's basically not showing those shorter names, which is super weird. Motor direction. Let's get this done. Okay. The propellers are definitely not off. Motor 1 is backwards. 2 is correct. 3 is backwards. 4 is correct. All good. We could have also done this in ESC configurator, but it's quicker in Betaflight. All right. And here we go, for real this time. 2 quick batteries, and then I gotta get a snack. Is this gonna be a less than 2-hour live? No, there's no way. I won't be able to fly 2 batteries in 13 minutes. Ooh, I almost Stevie Wondered it. Here we go. What? The fuck? What? Bueller? Let's see how long it takes to do it in ESC configurator. That's very weird. I guess maybe I didn't hit save in the on the bottom there. I didn't necessarily know I needed to, but that was very weird. I mean, I guess since I know which motors are spinning backwards, it won't really take any extra time in ESC configurator. Oh god, I do have to turn the transmitter off though, and that takes a little bit of time. And is just generally annoying. Oh my god, I'm so hungry. Come on, you rat bastard, work! Hold on. Ugh. What is happening? Okay, let's unplug everything. And then we'll plug it back in. Plug the battery in. Connect. Dude, what are you doing? Why? There we go. What up? All right, so it is motor 2 that we're going to put to normal. And wait, nope. It's motor 1 and motor 3. All right, settings, and we're good. The right way to do it is to wire the motors. That way you never have to change it. I don't know if the newbie drone motors are wired to the plugs like the Happy Model motors. All right. One more time here, and now I left the goggles up on my forehead, and they are foggy as shit. Oh, that'll be better. Oh, yeah, much better. This is a 15-degree mount. Transmitter's turned off. And now ELRS is going to take a while. Let's see how interested he is tonight. No interest. Here we go! Why did I hit that gate? Whoa, easy fella, easy, easy. Oh my god, what am I doing? Apparently I've gotten used to flying heavy rigs. Okay. Oh my god. Careful. Whoa, that was a nice dive. Ah, I tried something a little different there. It didn't work. Oh boy. That was me bailing. Woo! I'm getting into it. I think it went through that big old Weebly gate. Hard to tell. Hard to tell sometimes. Ugh. 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 Ooh, shit. Hey! Oh! Oh no! Don't be back behind. Oh, it came out. Thank you, Hummingbird. Oh my god. Didn't expect that one. Up! Up! Uh-oh! Ah, damn it. Hey, easy, fella. Easy. Buzz in the teddy tower. Skinny legs! When his beard blows in the wind, it's a special kind of magic. Whoa! He's fed up! We don't usually get that reaction out of him. I was flying it right in his face for a long time. He's such a good sport. What a good dog. Actually, he's a bad dog. He's peed on the floor down here in 4 different spots, and it's starting to smell like dog piss, which really annoys me. Because, like, I don't know, we kind of thought that he was not peeing on the floor anywhere. But, yeah, that sucks. But, you know, that's living with an animal. No interest when it's on the ground. Come on, buddy. Do your thing. Nice fresh battery. Whoa, okay. Oh, boy. Oh, God. Oh, boy. Oh, he turned his little nose up at it. You see it? Oh. Oh. Oh, wow. I went out the corner. Oh. What do you know about that? Oh. Oh, no. I went out the corner again. Oh, my God. It looks so cool. The hanging cube thing is where it's at. Oh, what was that? That was such an easy thing I was trying to do. That's what I was trying to do, kinda. I came back through the middle, that's kinda cool. Yep. Oh! Oh! Whoa, hold on. Hold on, that gave me an idea. I've got an idea. I wonder if I can, like, half pipe this, basically. Half pipe, and then down and out. No, how do I do that? How would I do that like a half pipe? So I would go up, and I would go up and over. Oh, shitballs. God, I'm so fucking hungry. I would go up. How do I do that? No. What I'm trying to do is go like, kind of like that, but not exactly. No. Hey. Throttle control is a bit of a mess tonight. Oh, you alright, boy? What was that, buddy? Hack up a hairball? Ah! I was trying to not make any corrections. Oh, what? I was actually crash recovery acting up a little bit. Hey! Oh, it went through. But it went through with crash recovery activating. One more try. Do I have enough battery left? Not really. Oh, we got it though. I know. Thanks for hanging, friends. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Subscribe to my Patreon. Buy something from my Etsy store. All over at CiottiFPV.com. Be good, people. I'll see you on Whoop Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Sporty says you have to reclaim your territory. Yeah, right. I'm going to start peeing on the floor. Dog's making weird noises tonight. Striker says, race back 2 days. Hadn't flown in 10 months. Fun singular pack. Second battery. Front right motor was twitching. Wouldn't spin up. The joy of FPV. No crashes on the first battery either. Third time in a row I've gotten a DOA whoop. That's a bit excessive, but it happens sometimes, brother. Be good, friends. I love you. Bye! What am I going to play for the little outro here? Hold on. Let's play... Well, I'm just going to drag this window over, and we'll just keep the footage going that was on. See you guys on Wednesday. Love you. Bye.